historic.
If we use history or if you use experience as a teacher, just based on what you're both saying this morning, you don't have to guess to look at it. And I just wanted to say that, there are cadres of victims in this whole thing. The people who lost life, there are those who are injured. There are those who were delivered of babies as a result of sexual violence. And again, I'm not just talking about the Gen Z protests in 2024 because it's very clear that this spans across time. There are those who lost property. Mm-hmm. There are those whose property was destroyed because they were in a place where they did their business, and there were criminals. There were criminal elements within those who may have been protesting. Criminal elements, because protesters and criminals are not the same thing.
Mm-hmm. True.
All across board. And it's almost very downheartening to say it. Yeah. But are we looking at a possible situation where a commission a panel has been set up and this compensation might not happen? Should we be coming to grips with the possibility of that reality?
I have a hypothesis.
Yeah.
I'm going to start at the point where I believe, and I think I'm getting to the point where I'm becoming an elder in Kenya.
Okay.
I think there's a pattern here. And compensation usually arrives to announce that justice is going to be late and accountability will not be arriving. Mm-hmm. Number two, the thing that I probably observe out of this is that compensation usually is a signal or a rehearsal for more violation. So, I think the history is there, that every time you hear this conversation about compensation, we are preparing you for an escalation of violence where there are going to be more atrocities committed. Mm. And this is a very sad thing. It saddens my heart to make this admission publicly, but the history, unfortunately, bears out the observation that every time we have this compensation, look at 2015, Uhuru Kenyatta makes this, what would look like a very generous offer of assistance to victims.
Yeah.
2 years later, Baby Pendo is killed. And many, many other people are, of course, shot and killed and so on. And that is where this conversation about the current compensation conversation comes. We are coming to, for the past 2-3 years, we have had the president visiting very serious violence, verbally, including saying, shoot people, I don't know in what parts of their limbs and so on. We haven't had a walk back from that violence. And so we are in this situation where we are talking from both sides of the mouth. So is it okay to shoot people in the leg or in whatever part of the body you think it's appropriate to shoot them? And is it okay to compensate them? So I think for me, every time we are looking at this, we are just de-escalating the conversation around violence so that we can revisit with more serious or new forms of violence. And I would like to close off that by citing what Justice Alfred Mabea did in Kisumu when civil society organizations went with victims to court. I think 28 victims and survivors from Nyalenda, Manyata, Obunga. Victims of shooting, people were being pulled out of their houses and shot and killed and so on. And he awarded 38 million shillings for varying levels of violations, but also issued a structural interdict. The lawyers here will tell you a structural interdict means a supervised court process, 90 days within which you prepare. And this is now where actually you're getting the results that the state has not been serious. And the court is saying, in 90 days, come with regulations on how we are going to have safe protests. Because every time we have protests in Kenya, we criminalize them.
Yeah.
And once we sort of criminalize them publicly from the podium, then we have allowed sort of, quote unquote, we have allowed security services to harm people. And when those people are harmed, when we begin now having accountability conversations, those who are promising, the current security minister, I think promised to defend policemen who violate the law by killing people.
Yes, he said they will defend you. Come.
Yeah, he said, he's a very good lawyer, and I know he's a good lawyer, and he offered to defend. So what side do we believe? When the left is saying, we are going to defend you when you kill people, or the one that's saying, we are going to pay you? And I'm just saying, we have to drop the pretense at some point and say, everybody, including children, everybody who is having this conversation is of sound mind, can process the things that state is trying to do, and we are really tired. This is not a conversation for us to be gaslighted about. The state should stop gaslighting people. The issues that we are dealing with are very, very grave. People's lives have been ended. People's lives have been disrupted. This is such a heavy subject. I just wish that we would not play